Back. Today, we're going deep, and I mean deep, into the world of cybersecurity.
Ooh, yeah.
Buckle up, because this is some next-level stuff. We're talking about how the real VIPs, the people at the very top, keep their secrets safe.
We're talking like CEO level.
Exactly. CEOs, celebrities, anyone who needs to keep their information on total lockdown.
High-stakes stuff.
Absolutely high stakes. So we've been digging into this company called DigitalBank Vault Limited, or DBV for short.
Catchy name.
Right. And they specialize in what they call counterintelligence for cybersecurity. They're basically claiming they can provide absolute secrecy, even from governments and those,
The big players.
yeah, those big players like state-sponsored hackers and intelligence agencies.
Sounds like something straight out of a movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Their marketing material is fascinating.
Oh, yeah. What kind of stuff are they saying?
Well, they talk about creating a digital fortress around their clients' information.
Digital fortress, huh? That's a pretty powerful image.
Right. But they also emphasize that they go beyond just, building walls and setting up firewalls.
So they're not just playing defense.
Nope, they're playing offense too. They're actively hunting for threats, trying to identify and neutralize them before they can even become a problem.
So it's more like proactive protection rather than just reactive.
Exactly. And that's where this counterintelligence approach comes in. They're not just trying to stop attacks. They're trying to outsmart the attackers.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this is different, but how do they actually do that?
Well, that's what we're going to unpack today. We're going to look at their methods, their technology, and try to figure out if they can really live up to their claims.
I'm all ears.
So, to kick things off, let's talk about who DBV is targeting. Their marketing seems to be aimed squarely at high-profile individuals, CEOs, celebrities, basically anyone who has a lot to lose if their information gets out.
Makes sense. These are the people who are most likely to be targeted by sophisticated attacks.
Exactly. They also mention corporations and institutions, places that hold a lot of sensitive data.
So we're talking about trade secrets, financial data, maybe even government secrets.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where the term counterintelligence comes in.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that even mean in this context?
Well, in traditional intelligence, you're gathering information about your adversaries to understand their capabilities and intentions. Counterintelligence is basically the opposite.
Clip in the script.
Right. You're trying to prevent your adversaries from gathering information about you. So in the cybersecurity world, it means identifying and thwarting espionage attempts.
So like stopping hackers from stealing data or planting spyware.
Exactly. It's about being proactive and anticipating threats rather than just reacting to them.
So it's like having your own personal secret service, but for the digital world.
That's a great way to put it.
And that sounds really cool in theory, but how does DBV actually put it into practice? What kind of stuff do they actually offer?
Well, they're pretty vague in their marketing materials. They talk about using sophisticated encryption technologies and having this advanced know-how.
Right.
But they do specifically list 4 areas of expertise.
Oh, yeah. And those are?
Counter cyber intelligence, counter cyber espionage, anti-spyware surveillance, and anti-smartphone interception.
Okay, so those sound pretty intense.
Yeah.
But what do those actually mean in plain English? What kind of threats are they talking about here?
Well, let's break it down. Counter cyber intelligence, that's basically what we were just talking about, identifying and neutralizing threats before they can do any damage.
Yeah.
Counter cyber espionage, that's specifically about preventing the theft of sensitive information. So think about hackers trying to steal trade secrets or government intel.
So like James Bond stuff, but in the digital realm.
Yeah, exactly. Then you've got anti-spyware surveillance. This is all about detecting and removing spyware from devices.
Okay, so that's like stopping people from, listening in on your phone calls or tracking your location.
Exactly. And finally, there's anti-smartphone interception. This is about preventing attackers from intercepting communications, like phone calls and text messages.
So it's like making sure that even if someone tries to tap your phone, they won't be able to hear anything.
Right. So basically, DBV is offering a whole suite of services designed to protect their clients from a wide range of digital threats.
Wow. So they're not messing around. It really does sound like they're trying to create this impenetrable digital fortress around their clients.
They're definitely aiming high. But, the biggest claim they make, the one that really caught my eye, is that their encryption is unbreakable.
Yeah, that's a bold statement, to say the least. I mean, unbreakable by anyone, even governments.
That's what they claim. Now, I have to say, in the world of cybersecurity, nothing is truly unbreakable.
Right. There's always some vulnerability, right?
Always. But what they're probably doing is using incredibly robust encryption algorithms.
Okay, like really strong math problems that would take forever to solve.
Exactly. And they're likely combining that with other techniques like steganography.
Steganography, what's that?
It's basically hiding data in plain sight, like embedding a secret message within an image or a music file.
So like, it looks like a normal picture, but there's actually a secret message hidden inside.
Exactly. The idea is to make the cost of breaking the encryption so high in terms of time and resources that it becomes practically impossible for anyone to crack it.
So more like uncrackable than unbreakable.
Exactly. But even with the strongest encryption in the world, there's still the human element to consider.
Oh yeah, people make mistakes all the time. I mean, passwords get leaked, devices get lost, people fall for phishing scams.
Absolutely. And that's why DBV's focus on counterintelligence is so important. They're likely combining their technical expertise with behavioral analysis and threat intelligence to try to identify those potential vulnerabilities before they can be exploited.
So they're not just relying on the technology, they're also factoring in human behavior and trying to predict what attackers might do.
Exactly. It's a much more holistic approach to security.
I like it. It's like a multi-layered defense system, not just a single point of failure.
Exactly. Now, one thing that really stood out to me in their materials is this thing they call the DVV Cipher system.
Oh yeah, the Cipher system.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty mysterious.
Right. They describe it as, get this, 100% offline, ultra-encrypted communications.
100% offline. How does that even work?
Well, that's the key here. By keeping communication completely separate from the internet and cellular networks, they eliminate a huge attack surface.
Okay, so no Wi-Fi, no cell service, completely off the grid.
Exactly. No chance of hackers intercepting your emails or calls if you're not even connected.
Makes sense. But how do you even communicate if you're completely offline?
Well, they don't go into specifics, but they do say that it's designed for top secret data transfers. They probably use something like a dedicated secure device that's physically separate from any network.
So like a super high-tech walkie-talkie or something.
Maybe something like that. But whatever it is, it sounds incredibly secure.
It does. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. The quantum-ready OTP cipher. What in the world does that mean?
Okay, so OTP stands for one-time pad.
One-time pad, got it.
And it's considered to be the only truly unbreakable form of encryption.
Really? Unbreakable? How does that work?
Basically, each message is encrypted with a unique, randomly generated key that's never reused. So even if someone intercepts the message, they can't decrypt it without that specific key.
And the key's never stored digitally or anything, right?
Right. It's usually something physical, like a notepad with a list of random characters. So unless someone physically steals the pad, the message is essentially unbreakable.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. But what about the quantum-ready part?
That's where things get really interesting. Quantum computers are still in the early stages of development, but they have the potential to break many of our current encryption methods.
Really? That's a little scary.
It is, but OTP encryption is considered to be quantum resistant because it doesn't rely on the kinds of mathematical problems that quantum computers are good at solving.
So DBV is basically future-proofing their encryption.
That's the idea. They're trying to create a system that will be secure even against the most advanced threats of tomorrow.
Wow, this is all pretty mind-blowing. But, you know, even with all this talk of unbreakable encryption and digital fortresses, there's a part of me that wonders, is this always a good thing?
I see what you mean. Like, what if this technology falls into the wrong hands?
Exactly. I mean, it could be used to protect sensitive information and prevent harm, but it could also be used by criminals or terrorists to hide their activities.
You're absolutely right. It's a double-edged sword. And that's the thing about technology. It can be used for good or bad.
It all comes down to how it's used. And that's something we need to think about carefully as this technology continues to evolve.
Agreed. We need to have open and honest conversations about